Sometimes I think, what will people say of me when I'm only just a memory, when I'm home where my soul belongs? And was I love when no one else would show up? Was I Jesus to the least of us? Was my worship more than just a song? I wanna live like that and give it all I have, so that everything I say and do points to you. If love is who I am, then this is where I stand, recklessly abandoned, never holding back. I wanna live like that, yeah. I wanna live like that. And am I proof that you are who you say you are? That grace can really change a heart? Do I live like your love is true? And people pass, and even if they don't know my name, is there evidence I've been changed? When they see me, do they see you? Lord, I wanna live like that and give it all I have, so that everything I say and do points to you. If love is who I am, then this is where I stand, recklessly abandoned, never holding back. I wanna live like that, yeah.
Okay, so on our first night, we stayed in Madison, Indiana, and we stayed in church housing of a friend of Tracy's, and we got to bond with our youth group more and to just, we got to bond with our youth group and to just go over everything before we left for our mission sites the next day.
I'm just excited to get to know the kids personally and hopefully be salt and light to them, and that they would be able to get to know Christ through this experience. And then also that as we might have more free time this year, that we use that for good conversations. And yeah.
I'm just really excited this week to be working with the kids and hopefully have a lot of fun with them. If there's an opportunity to share my faith with them, I pray that I'd have the boldness to do that this week.
So past mission trips, we've done a lot of hard work, and so this week it doesn't sound like we're going to do that, so it feels different for me. But it's just my hope that we will grow spiritually, me especially, that I would just learn something. And I'm also excited about the camp dynamic, so I think it's going to be cool to have worship every day and stuff.
I'm excited to work with the kids this week and hopefully share the gospel with them. And I'm hoping to grow and learn a lot through this trip.
Yeah, all right. On this mission trip, we're going to be doing a lot less physical work, it sounds like, and a lot more child work. And I hope that I can deal with people better this week.
I'm excited to see how God's going to work through everyone and use each other's different talents that we all have to see how we can minister to these kids and hopefully get some strong relationships with them and spread the light.
I'm really looking forward to growing as a youth group this week and getting to know everyone a little bit better, and just it's something special when you grow as a group together. And I'm also hoping that we can find ways to bless the long-term workers and really build into the kids' lives this week.
I'm really excited to see what God has in store for all of us, and I hope that God will just open the hearts of all the children, and that we'll be able to influence them in a big way. And I pray that wherever we go, that we'll just be a light for God and change some people's lives.
I'm really excited just to be able to build into kids' lives and people around us through serving and through being a blessing. I'm just concerned that I don't have a servant's heart, like a pure servant's heart through this week. So I'm really hoping and praying that I will really just be a blessing and do work with love, because if I do good works without love, it equals nothing. So.
I'm really excited to just be able to work with kids, and I'm excited that I know God's going to challenge me to have like a servant's heart. And I'm just a little worried that, like Rebecca said, I won't have a pure servant's heart, and I've always struggled with that. So.
Okay, I was really hoping that, because on the last mission trip, we didn't have a lot of human interaction. We had a lot of service work, and it didn't really seem like we really got to share our faith with the people around us. So I'm excited to maybe share our faith with the kids that are going to be on this mission trip.
I'm excited to get to know everyone more on this next week, and just serve for Christ.
I'm just excited to have this opportunity to work with the kids and to be able to minister to them throughout the week.
I'm excited to get to know some of the kids and hopefully get to do some fun things with them. And I want some of the kids to trust me enough to be able to tell me about their personal lives, and then I can tell them about mine, and maybe I'll get to talk to some of them about Christ.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how everybody uses their own abilities this week to the effect of touching people's lives and being a light, and just hoping that everybody is really bold with their faith, talking to kids and maybe older people, and seeing how they touch their lives.
I am really excited to be challenged this week spiritually, and to just really be challenged to have like a good attitude the whole time and just be surrounded with great people.
I'm excited this week to work with all the kids, and I pray that I'll have patience, and that as a youth group we can grow closer together, and that any chance we have to share Christ's love, that we can, and do it fluently and not have trouble.
I think I'm most excited to see the world from a different point of view, and seeing it from a different point of view to help encourage those that coming back here, and being able to minister to those that I couldn't really connect with before.
I'm really excited to work with kids, because working with people is one of my strong suits. So hopefully that I'll be able to work with people and be able to spread my faith through strong relationships with the kids there.
So the place we were staying is Radius Camps, and this is a place where different churches come in, and we stayed at a school this week, and different churches from around the country really come, and it's a really camp-like feel, but during the afternoon we all go out into different mission sites. But also we had chapels every morning and every night, and it really helped us. The ones in the morning were very beneficial because they helped us throughout the day to really think on that, and it really helped us throughout that day. But really that throughout that week we learned how to be a light in the darkness, and just really to be missionaries right where we are. And some people ask to be sent, and well, we really are sent to the places that we already are.
At Radius Camps, praise and worship there, it was impactful. They just had It was simple. It was 4 people, but they were all fluid, and they brought the message to everyone there. And it was great how they brought it. And in the mornings, they would play slower stuff and more meaningful stuff. And there'd be a short message right in the beginning, just little popcorn nuggets of wisdom for you to take out to go out and work. And then when you're working, you had a little lunch devotional you would read when you're eating your lunch, which kind of added on and built on to what you were learning. And then you'd come back, you'd do fun games and stuff, but then you'd come back for an evening chapel, which was awesome. They would play music, and then they would do a much longer sermon talking about these 4 things: the creation, fall, redemption, and recreation, talking about each subject a different day and tying it all together at the end, how Jesus came back to life in the end and he won.
Each night, Monday through Thursday, we played games outside at Radius camps in what they called the arena. And at the beginning of the week, each of the 4 churches that went to Radius was divided into 4 teams, so that the 4 teams that played against each other in the arena had some people from each church. And we played 2 kinds of dodgeball, trash ball, and soccer. And the team that won each game got the most points. And there were also a couple other ways that we could earn extra points. One was showing the most spirit or excitement, and the other was having one person from our team help clean up after dinner every night. I had a lot of fun playing games every night on the mission trip. So I'm going to talk about the I in Fire, which is initiative. Pastor Chad showed initiative by helping clean up after dinner every night at Radius, and he didn't just do it to earn points for his team in arena. He did it even when someone else from his team was already helping.
There we figured out that we were going to be creating games for them to just like release some of the energy for some of the other classes throughout the day. And so what we did is we came up with games, and like we would play them, and then at the end we would like discuss them and like how those games can relate to like how God like works through us, through our lives, and just like tie it all together like that. And one of the days we had this team building activity where we would get these eggs and try to build cages for them to try to protect them, and like we would throw them off a little stairwell, see if they'd crack or not. And so our group, we just tried to cushion it as much as we can, and it was really interesting to see like everyone's like ideas and flowing through, and how like other different people brain solve, and like it was just really cool. And then at the end of the day, we all sat in the middle of the court, and we congratulated people on like what we saw throughout the day, or like how you witnessed something that someone did good. And or some of the kids like congratulated some of the team leaders, and that was really cool. And one of the kids at the end, he was praying, he's just thanking God for like he thanked God for like all his 5 senses, and the clothes on his back, and the roof over his head, and the family that he had. I feel like sometimes we take that for granted. It was just really cool to see how much that means to some of the kids down there.
Okay, so while I was on the mission trip in Nashville, God really taught me how to be flexible with just going along with the flow and spending time with kids. And the first day was actually pretty awesome and kind of scary actually, because the first thing that Dwight, the leader of PTM, he said, okay, we're going to do one-on-one Bible study. And I was like, what? So I met with this girl named Sydney, and we got to talk about stuff that went on in her life, and we actually got the opportunity to talk for the days after as well, along with some other girls. And I was really excited to have the opportunity to not preach the gospel, but talk about the gospel to them. And I thought that God really taught me to be flexible through that, because I've never really spoken with unbelievers about the gospel, so God really stretched me then. And also, one of the days, Dwight had asked Natalie, Rebecca, and I to do music for the kids as one of the enrichment kind of activities. So we were able to perform, well, 2 songs for them. One was Cornerstone, and the other one was Never Once. And so we kind of went on and off with those songs, and part of it was like explaining what a cornerstone was, and also about how God is there with us all the time, and never once have we ever been alone. And so Natalie spoke about the cornerstone, and I spoke about things that went on in my life, so I got to kind of connect with the kids in that way. And God taught me to be flexible through that, because I don't really perform a lot in front of people, and when I do, I get very, very nervous. And God just spoke to me then, and He said, "Mandy, it's okay. Everything's going to be great, and it's not about you, it's about me." So that was definitely a big part of my time at the mission trip.
Okay, during the mission trip, there were a lot of parts where we could have easily just stood around. This mission trip wasn't a very taxing mission trip, and so there's a lot of parts where we could have just been standing around and not doing much. But the eye and fire is the initiative part, and there were a lot of people, and this wasn't just in myself, but there were a lot of people who really took initiative, and not just at the work site, but around camp even. There were people who did what needed to be done and weren't waiting for somebody to tell them what they needed to do. And then there was also when we did the teamwork activity with the kids, there were a lot of people in the debrief that we had one person who was set aside to do the debrief, but it wasn't really just one person that was doing the whole thing. If they were forgetting something, or if they didn't have it all down, everybody joined in and chipped in to make it easier on the person who had to do the debrief, and it made it a whole lot better when we all worked together.
So the thing I was focusing on the mission trip was evangelism. I was really excited to talk with the kids I was working with about Jesus and hopefully get them excited about Christ or spur them on to have a relationship with God. And so the first few days, after talking with the kids a while, I realized that I don't think they were getting everything I was saying, or maybe they just didn't really want to pay attention, but I felt like I was talking to a stone wall, and I'm sure they got some of it, but I was really discouraged because I was like, oh man, I felt like God was calling me to be the person that talked to these kids about Christ. But then I realized there was something that I was missing. And at Radius camps, there was a girl that was 12 years old, and she was probably the youngest person at Radius camps that week. And I think since she was so young, her youth group kind of neglected her a little bit. And she really gravitated toward us girls. And I decided to turn evangelism into encouragement. And so I decided to encourage this girl. And most of the time we were talking, it was about how the girls in her youth group were being mean to her and how they weren't understanding her. And I decided, like, I can't gossip about these girls. I really need to turn this into a positive. So I started talking to her about being a good example. Maybe she could show these girls what it looks like to be a true Christ follower. And I think I ended up making a little bit of a difference. And so I guess what God showed me this week was that sometimes you're so focused on one thing that you end up missing the thing or the person that was there the whole time.
While we were at Radius camps, we had chapel every morning and night, and I really enjoyed that because then when we went to our mission sites, the little like Bible study one-on-one I had with my girl, I was able to share what we had been learning that week, so that was cool. So while we were at the mission site one day, Natalie, Rebecca, and Mandy all performed like songs for the kids, and they shared either something from their life or explained what Cornerstone meant to the kids, and so that was cool seeing them take initiative in doing that.
This week for the missions trip, my dad was talking about fire analogy, and I really saw E for evangelism in Gabe Carpenter, because he had like 3 kids in his group, and they were often the troublemaker kids, or they're kind of loud, and he handled it really well, and he got to talk about spiritual things with them too because of how well he handled them, so that was a good evangelism, and he was able to work with the kids and really helped out this week.
During the missions trip, the F in fire, in First Love, God really showed me that we have to put Him first and not ourselves. Even when we were not in a situation where we were most comfortable, we had to not put ourselves first, but put God first, because that's why we were there, and that's what we have to do in our everyday lives. And when we got back home, we had to make sure that we were putting God first, even when it wasn't something we wanted to do.
So before we went on the mission trip, during our meetings, we talked about FIRE, which is an acronym for First Love, Initiative, Respect, and Evangelize. I saw all these aspects in a lot of different people, but there was one person specifically, Kayla Mead. I saw initiative come out of her just very well and very beautifully, just with taking initiative to meet other people and to just do things really quick, which also falls under respect. She really respected her elders and really respected other people. She just did a really, really good job having that initiative and respect. Part of the ways that it affected me was for the respect part, 'cause a lot of times I have trouble respecting other people just because I see their outward appearance, but I learned about the heart really like on this trip, and respecting that rather than respecting their outward appearance, which it is important to respect people outwardly, but really getting to know the person and hearing their heart. And one place my group worked at was called PTM, which stands for Preston Taylor Ministries. They're kind of like a VBS that runs for, I think it's 5 to around 8 weeks throughout the summer. And we didn't really know what to expect getting thrown into this. They said there might be some games involved, maybe some teaching, and so we got there the first day, and it was like, here's a piece of paper, you're gonna get a kid or a couple of kids and have a personal devotional time. So that was really crazy, just getting a piece of paper with some steps on it, some questions, and some Bible verses to read through and memorize. And it was just such a good time. We were only there 3 days. I wish you could have been there for more than that. But I got this little girl named Artemisha Robinson. She was just so sweet. It was kind of hard though, because these kids, they have a lot of confusion about religion and about what the Bible really means. She really understood a lot of it when we had our special times together. But she was very confused. Like, she said she had been baptized, but she asked me how long she had to wait to get baptized again. So I had to explain a lot, but through that I got to do the E in FIRE, which was evangelize, and I got to tell her the gospel and how it affected me and how it can affect her life. And I told her how it's not about baptism, it's about what Jesus did on the cross for you. So that was really awesome. But we also did get to do a lot of teaching through games and also through some music and art, which was really awesome to get all those different aspects thrown in there. One day we had to kind of come up with a game, so we did like trash can basketball or bucket ball or something. And through it, we taught them teamwork and how important it was. Because if you had the ball, you had to stand there and you had to throw it to a teammate. You couldn't go. We talked about how if you're there holding your life, you can't really go anywhere. You can't really grow unless you have God there as a teammate sort of to help you out. So that was really cool. And then one of the last days, me and Amanda Briggs and Natalie Feldposh, we played music, and through the music the kids would listen to it and they would write something down or draw something that it made them feel or think of. And that was really beautiful, and it was also very hard to read some of the things that the kids had written just through their broken families. But it was just a really beautiful time, and we got to teach about how God is the cornerstone of our faith and how He is always with us even through the dark times.
Okay, I want to celebrate Natalie. I call it celebrate because at PTM, the ministry I served at, we did that at the end of the day, and it was really cool because kids would celebrate us and say what they were thankful for us, and then we would celebrate them too. Anyways, out of our fire analogy for the week, I really liked the initiative, and I saw Natalie Feldposh do it well. She's a freshman, but it didn't stop her, and she would, they would give us devotions for one-on-one time with kids, and she would just ask us how we were going to do it, and she would spend time preparing for it. And then she was offered an option to do music for the kids, and she jumped on it, and she worked hard to plan for it along with Mandy and some other girls, and so I just was really proud of her for doing that.
So on this mission trip to Nashville, started off a little rough for me. About within the first hour of getting there, we were burning some time and we were playing a game and I broke my finger. And that, it kind of bothered me throughout the week, but not to a certain point where it was unbearable. I think the Lord definitely helped me there. But yeah, so this week we got to work at the West Nashville Dream Center, which is a place where kids in the community can come Tuesday through Thursday and hang out in a safe environment, and they can hear a Bible lesson every day and get meals, because a lot of the kids in that community come from very poor families, and a lot of them don't get all their meals every day. So that the Dream Center is very important there. But yeah, so the first day we got there, it was, well, I guess you could say we didn't really know what we were going into. But a lot of the kids were not really listening during our Bible lesson that we're trying to teach, and these were ages 3 through 15. So it was very hard to keep them all concentrated. So the next day, on day 2, we were able to split them up into 3 different age groups, and that worked a lot better because we could have a lot more one-on-one time with the kids, and really worked out a lot better.
I guess, and for the fire analogy, I could see the letter R for respect used a lot at my mission site, because we had to show respect to the kids in order for them to show respect back to us, and showing respect to them caused us to build a better relationship and just to have a stronger foundation in order for that relationship to grow and to evangelize to them, and just for them to trust us and know that we're the same as them and we're not any higher than them in any way, and we're...
The unique thing about working in Nashville was kind of getting out of my comfort zone with living in the country. Living in the country, you don't really interact with a lot of people that have like maybe checkered pasts, and so it was cool talking to different kids and interesting with how much they know and how some of them have the knowledge of a lot older person, but they don't have the knowledge of a lot of good things, and so it was kind of good to talk with them about certain things, and I worked with the 11 through 15-year-olds, and so I was able to talk to some of them about the Lord a little bit. It was kind of hard for them to focus because they easily got distracted. So it was fun to work with them. There was some kids that really connected with, and you could tell some of them were real focused during the lessons and the teaching there, and some of them really focused on making sure all the other kids were in check too. Some of them could get a little wild at times, and so yeah, the Dream Center was real cool to be at. They kind of focus more, their demographic is more with moms and children, but they supply, they have supplemental resources for physical, spiritual things, kind of like that, and so it's real cool how they're open 7 days a week, and they're there for the people of Nashville, and so the community that they're in is not the best, so they certainly need it, and just how determined the leaders are there and how strong they can be, and just wanting to reach the lost in Nashville. It was really an encouragement to me, because I think sometimes I'll think I have it tough out here, but really I don't compared to what they got out there. And so that was the main encouragement to me that week.
Okay, so over the week, Chad gave us the fire analogy, and so like each letter stands for something. So the F stands for first love, the I stand for initiative, the R was for respect, and the E was for evangelism. And so he told us to just like look for it throughout the week and like how we saw examples of it. And so I would say what challenged me was making Christ first love, because like throughout the week I would be playing with some of the kids, and I'd be playing with one, and they just love to play basketball. So I feel like I'd be playing basketball with some of them, and another kid would come up and be like, "Can I play basketball?" I'm like, "Well, can't we do something else?" But I have to remember like I wasn't there for me, and I was there to serve Christ and be an example to them. And also another person that I saw in really well was Mandy. I wasn't in her group, but when we would debrief at the end of the day, she just loved to talk about her day, and you could just see on her face when she smiled and just talked about how God showed his love through all the kids and the leaders.
Through my week at Radius Camps, I learned specifically through us going to the missions, and our mission was the Dream Center. The first day it was really chaotic and crazy, and just like there was felt like a million kids just running around. Something that I was just panicking because I'm not really good with kids, and I was just like, Lord, please help me, give me patience with this so I don't like blow up at the kids, or that I just would be able to make a good impression, of like a Christ-like impression to them. And so that's something that God really like helped me out with, because I was really nervous about that.
We were going to our mission sites. I got the awesome opportunity of working at Dream Center, and when we were working there was a lot of troubled kids, and they were lost, and a couple of them, I had the opportunity to work in the little farm there, and there was these kids and they didn't know how to handle the animals, so I was taking time to show them how to handle the animals and teach them a little respect of how if you treat an animal how you would like to be treated, they will be nice back to you in return, and how they saw that if they weren't throwing the chickens around, the chickens were actually nice to them and let them hold them. And had a couple of kids that actually realized that, and I think they actually learned something from that.
Some of the things that I really liked about the Dream Center was just the way that they worked with the kids and how they just showed them tough love, because they didn't get much of that at home sometimes. And they showed them love by, like, if they didn't follow rules, then they would send them home, because it was better to send them home than to have them hurt themselves or other kids. One of the things that I really liked doing at the Dream Center was teaching one of the lessons to some of the kids. It helped me become more of a leader with them in their eyes, I think, and it convicted me more, because I was teaching myself at the same time as them, because I didn't know what I was teaching until I taught it. And it really helped me learn that I need to look more to the Bible, more to God with my life before I help others. One of the sermons that we did with Radius Camps talked about shining your light to people who need it, but also not hiding your light. And during the sermon, he mentioned writing a list of people that aren't saved and that need the light. And all of my siblings were the first ones I thought of. And then I thought, I'm no better than they are, because for a long time I would go to church, but I wouldn't believe it. And I always thought, if God is real, why would all these things happen? Like, why did all of these things happen in my life that made my life super crazy? And until recently, I would go to church and I'd pretend, but I didn't actually believe what I was reading or hearing. And that sermon made me think that I'm like my siblings and I'm not saved. And it did make me look more at my life, and it's actually helped me a lot in the last couple of weeks with what I've been doing with my life. And it sticks with me. I think it will for a long time. So.
Damn, I prove that you are who you say you are. That grace can really change a heart. Do I live like your love is